Now then, let's get started, shall we? And there we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the thing. Let me put of course, the audio doesn't want to work right away. I love it when it does that thing. Instead, we would like for it to do this. There we go. Hello, Night Gardenia. Thank you for coming to class today. Hello, everyone else who is also here. I am very pleased to see that everyone is doing so well and that everyone's, having a good time and such. I made myself some tea, and now making tea reminds me of the Conjuration Tower. Oh no, I am so sorry. But on the other hand, it does remind you that you have homework to do, probably. Everyone's got homework to do all the time, so, get it into the habit. But yes, so here's what we are doing today. We're moving over to some painting. I have the wonderful set of metallic alcohol inks that the very good Night Gardenia was so wonderful as to send to me. And then, hang on, let's adjust this camera just a teeny bit here. There we go. It is sideways. It's actually upside down for me now. But yeah, these are the things that we used last time around when we were painting the wind demons. And so now we can actually see like the shine and shimmer of each of them and how they turned out. Some of them being much, much more saturated than others, which I think is very cool and merits some more experimentation. I have spilled some of the water from my brush dip cup onto the mat on which I am painting, which is not my best work, but worse things have happened. But yeah, and then we also did this guy where we used the alcohol inks to do all of his armor and such, which I think was very good. Now, this week, we're gonna get these guys just kind of out of the way. We have, as before, the Headless Horseman type that we had last week and that I so unceremoniously broke, which we will keep as the backup for when we need something. But what we are actually running today is the Gloomhaven monster, the Rending Drake. These are a sort of dragon-type monster that cannot fly, but they are nevertheless very nasty. They do lots of damage when they come up and hit you. So, here we go. Is it possible to flip the camera feed? I suppose we could. Is it weird to have the hands coming from the top? What if we did it like that? Is that any better for you? Because we can work with that. Everything you show us is upside down. I suppose that's fair. But yes, so we're working with the Rending Drakes today. They work in a very sort of red and orange kind of color scheme. Oh, that was weird. Why did that disappear immediately? Interesting. All right, well, we're just gonna get rid of that then. But in any case. Oh, look, if it isn't Moss. Yes, in fact, the wizard has got hands. These are mage hands. They are controlled by magic. Hand reveal for like the 20th time, I suppose. But yeah, so that's what we're working with today. We're going to be working with some bright reds and kind of oranges and such. Actually, what if I did like a this? And then we did a this. And I put this thing in like that. Will that work? Hey, there we go. The magic of a nervous system. Oh, Moss, I am sorry for your sleepiness, but you are in good company. There we go. So this is our color scheme for the Drake. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the method, we don't actually get to do any of the red stuff until we do some other things. I also have with me a beef and broccoli bowl that I made earlier. And so every once in a while you might hear the ASMR munch of me chewing on some of that. In the meantime, however, we do need to do the preparations for the slap chop method. So we're going to be using Stonewall Gray as the base dry brush, and then we will white highlight over that as well. Oh, Moss, you just woke up. Well, excellent. Thank you for spending your wake-up time here in the classroom. I rather appreciate it. All right. So we saturate the brush out so that now it is ready to accept some paint. And on my wet palette, we are going to throw down some of the Stonewall Gray, which needs to be mixed up first. Just going to do a little shaky shake. And we don't need a ton of this, because all we're doing is dry brushing. So we're just going to kind of bloop down a little bit. If we end up needing more, then so be it. But for now, that's all we're going to need. Now, we take the teeniest little bit of it, and we kind of like saturate the edge of the brush. And then we take it over to our paper towel. We get rid of most of it, which leaves the dry brush that we use for this thing. I just got back from lunch and I'm trying to motivate myself back to work. Unfortunately, my work is at an annoying place right now. Oh, that's the worst. I am very sorry for that, Night Gardenia. Our dry brush, we're just going to kind of do a little brushy brush over like this so that we catch all of the raised bits. And so that the paint does not go into the, like, deeper sort of rifts of the model. In such a manner that we sort of have a pre-done set of, like, where shadows are and such. So you can already see now, just with that much, there's like the ridges on the belly, and you can see that they kind of have like a scale sort of thing going on. You can see that the like bits where light would be less likely to fall, like so. We're going to do that for all 6 of our models. In the meantime, how is everyone else sort of doing? I know that everyone's got like work stuff and they have to be awake and be human, which is annoying. But hey, what doesn't kill you makes you weirder. And that's sort of all we really want around here, nah? There we go. Art! Of course it is. I mean, a lot of magic is very akin to math and art at the same time. So. Okay, there's our dry brush there. I feel like my brush might be a little bit too wet. There we go. Pop it onto my little mini holder. Gives me a little bit more control over where the mini is. I'm just going to saturate the brush just a teensy bit more. And we brush off most of the paint. That guy was still pretty wet. That's fine. Turns out that the backwards jet lag is kind of worse because my body is still figuring out that 4 a.m. is not 11 a.m. Ugh. Oh, Night Gardenia. I haven't had to deal with jet lag in quite a long time, and I do not envy those who must. There we go. So I keep waking up way too early. Ugh, I'm so sorry. Nevertheless, it should eventually pass. We can all fervently hope that your rhythm comes back into where it had ought to be sooner rather than later. Here we go. Yeah, with the brush a little bit drier, like with less water saturating it, it does make the dry brush a lot better looking. It's gotta really kind of get up in and on this biz. There we go. I am glad that you are able to take it easy while you recover from what is essentially summoning sickness. There we go. Now for the second to last. Let's grab a little bit more of this gray. Get rid of most of it. And we just kind of lay it on. This one's going to be a little bit thicker. That's fine. We will have different thicknesses of the dry brush, I suppose. Glad I gave myself the whole weekend. Oh, yeah. Yeah, can you imagine if you just, like, showed back up and then suddenly it was like, oh, and work time. Being an adult human in the mundane world is exhausting. So, you know, if you are able to take it any type of slower than the world would normally expect, do it. So much the better. Summoning sickness is worth the experience. I am glad that you had a good time when you'd come over. Granted, it does mean that you cannot attack or use any tap abilities until the beginning of your next upkeep, but, well, hey. Maybe I grab just a teensy bit more here. Yeah, there we go. We've got our sort of predetermined locations for highlights and shadows and things. I forgot! We have a contrast red that we're going to be able to use, and this is going to be excellent for this. Because this style of paint, the contrast paint, is built specifically for this method of painting called the slap chop method. Or rather, the method was built around those types of paint, so. Okay, that is our first layer. And then we will take it from here and do the teeniest, tiniest dry brush of white in one direction for like an artificial light source. I am sorry that you had to skip sword practice, but I would sooner that you are well recovered than anything else. All right, let me get a new one of these. Here they are. Ba-da-bum-bum. There we go. Now we mix up the white. And we give ourselves just a teensy little block. About that much will be more than enough, I think. Pierre's new little brother is getting so brave, though. That's right. Pierre has himself a new sibling, which is awesome and exceptional and would be so much cooler if I wasn't allergic to cats. Okay, so we saturate the bristles up some. And we use this guy to kind of get rid of most of it. Then we're going to kind of do it just from over here, I think. Yeah, so it's going to kind of come from like this angle here. Yeah, that'll do. Get some of that sheen on the scales. He's not brave enough for a kitty introduction yet, but still, it will come. The day will come. Ah, my brush. Oh no. This is like a junk €1 store brush, so nothing of value is really lost. And we do a little like this. Maybe grab a teensy bit more. Get rid of it. Oh no! Oh, junk! Why does this always happen to me? Familiar has heard my cry and has come to offer assistance, but no assistance can be given from you, Familiar. I am sorry, this is outside of your realm. You know, she is as needy and beggarly as she always is. I have no doubt that she is very soon about to start doing exactly that. Just maybe pick up a little bit more of the white. There we go. Told Sin about the bread ritual. Amazing. I'm glad that you and Sin are getting along as well. That seems like a good little combo. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what it says about, like, you know, ethical necromancer plus knight working in any kind of a together thing, but, you know, we do not discriminate based on schools of magic here. There we go. 2 more. Let's grab a teeny bit. The thing about the white is that when you don't thin these colors out and you're just using them base like directly from the bottle, white is both really thick and also dries really fast. So like you kind of really have to use up the white that you put down pretty fast, even if it is in, or like on a wet palette. There we go. Last one for the white. And we don't have to worry about that thing getting dried out or anything anymore. Pick up just a little bit more. And we do like a so. That was too much. Too much, but oh well. This is how things will be now. There we go. Okay. So, we're looking at this sort of color scheme, and it is very red. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to go straight from the contrast color pot directly on and see how it ends up looking. And then we might do like a dark tone wash over it or something. And we'll see how that looks also. Let me see here. These contrast colors are interesting to work with. because they behave differently than what I would normally expect a paint to do. You are meant to use them directly out of the pot without any, like, dilution or mixing or anything. So we're just gonna take some, and we're gonna slap it on here. And it should act a little bit like a wash in that it will sort of seep into the places where like it is deeper and leave some of the places where it is less deep, like where it is more pokey uppy. See how this turns out. Because I do, if this is like a thing, I definitely will want to get more of these contrast paints. Like, yeah, okay, you can kind of see. It's still leaving the dark from the stuff and all that. If you ever feel sad, remember that Robert Englund once took a nap on the set of A Nightmare on Elm Street in full Freddy Krueger makeup. When he woke up and looked straight into a mirror, he scared himself to death. That sounds completely accurate. Oh, the poor guy. That would be very funny to watch, though. Yeah. Okay, this is looking pretty okay. We'll probably have to go back through with some actual highlights of like a reddish orange or something and do like actual paint theory stuff. And not just be lazy about it. Professor, I'm excited for the field trip tomorrow. As far as I know, I have scheduled no classes. Maybe there's something going on with the university, or like, are you doing a joint class with one of the other towers or something? Oh, no, you're right. I forgot about this. It's Professor Yimble. He has so graciously asked if I would be okay with him using my students as sort of research material for his Claire experience spells. He says that he's gotten more, I don't know, more exacting with the magic. I didn't mean to scare you. But yeah, Professor Yimble has said that since this class is the class that has the most experience with it, he would rather that he is able to continue the testing with the class that is the most familiar with what goes on. If that makes sense. I wanted to ask if Professor Yimble looked into the Claire experience stuff. To the best of my knowledge, he's been working on it pretty much non-stop. Yeah, okay. So the contrast paints really dry very quickly, which they're supposed to do. They are performing the service that they are meant to do. They dry pretty quick, and they also dry pretty thin, such that you can see what is under it. So maybe we'll base coat with this. I will have to thank him for his efforts tomorrow. Well, we will see how it turns out. There we go. Many of the faculty professors have been sort of working on a bunch of new and improved research for their faculty in recent past, myself included. Because we're coming up to the beginning of, or rather the end of one term, and then the beginning of a new term, and at the beginning of a term, it's always sort of a little contest, I suppose, between the faculty to see who can pull in the largest amount of new students. So I will actually probably be doing something like that in the near future, as well. Maybe in the form of some kind of subathon. Not in February, perhaps in March. But I need to make some actual plans for that. So all of these are going to be red drakes. They are all this type of rending drake. They are like close combat, very quick, melee focused sort of folk. And yeah, they are, this species is all very red. There are drakes from Frosthaven, I believe, that do a different color, but in Gloomhaven and the surrounding areas, all of the drakes are red in color. I personally have never been to Gloomhaven, because it's not really the same type of world as the one that I'm from. Nevertheless, the creatures from there are interesting, and I do like the idea of being able to summon them. How can you paint these? I would go nuts. You are not joking, Moss. It helps when you have an audience. That is for certain. The one time I painted minis, I was atrocious at it. You know what I think we might end up doing at some point, maybe as part of the subathon, is like a paint-along sort of thing, where, for those of you who have 3D printers or access to them or something like that, I will give you guys the file for the mini that we will paint, and then we paint it all together. That might be fun. But I will say, Moss, this sort of thing where you only ever have to paint like 6, maybe 10 of the same object is manageable. What is not manageable is the people who do things like play Warhammer and Warhammer 40k and all of those like army style mini games where you have to paint like 75 of the same little goblin fellow in order for them to be like usable in tournaments and that kind of business. And I don't know if I could paint that many of one thing. That would drive me bonkers. Hey, if it isn't Fallen! A few meters lower. Yeah, I mean, there have been a few instances of people, let us charitably say, making mistakes on their translocation stuff specifically into and out of the classroom recently, which is both very funny for me, but also somewhat dangerous. So, I made an announcement about it a while back, but like, we have a specific network of linked gates and that kind of business for travel around campus. If you are doing it by yourself, then you are responsible for your own travel. But thank you for coming in, Fallen. It's good to see you. We are currently slap chopping the red contrast paint onto all of the rending drakes. I was going to also bring the spitting drakes, which are a similar drake style, except for they've got wings. They are the like different biomorph of the same species. But I realized that I only had 4 of them, and you're supposed to have 6. And so I need to summon 2 more of them. But my thought then became, well, if I paint 4 of them now and then go back to paint the other 6 later, there's no way that I'm going to get them to be similar. Because what if I have to mix colors? So they did not show up, and instead, the rending drakes did. Oh, you mean just in general for, like, getting detail work on small object? Yes, that does require some fortitude, Moss. Me and Fallen have something new in common, falling through the classroom. Well, I mean, the tower's steps are somewhat steep and somewhat irregular, having been built for a long time. But nevertheless, Night Gardenia, it would behoove you to fall down those stairs slightly less. There we go. Elaborate. When Night Gardenia had come to visit the tower in person, she fell down the stairs once, or twice, or several times. The stairs here are somewhat unforgiving in nature, but it was only partially the stairs' fault. Omos, if you could fix these stairs. But they are so old, I have half a mind to think that they would resist any sort of, like, endeavor toward modernization. The slander. Wear padded armor. Yeah, I mean, you know, Night Gardenia, you could wear your gambeson for when you beef it down the stairs. Amazing. Grab a little bit more to put on this dude's belly and undertail. Undertail? Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-da-da. Excellent. Looking pretty good. I didn't beef it. Well, I think the story is funnier if you had completely beefed it. And since it is my tower, I think that is the story that will get propagated. Nevertheless, I'm glad that you had a good time while you were here, even if you beefed it. The stairs are now the new BBEG. Oh boy, if only it were that easy, because if the stairs were the big bad, I would just be like, alright, it's elevator time. I mean, I'm lucky, because it kind of seems like currently I don't have to deal with any BBEGs, because I'm not in an adventuring party. Makes my life a lot easier. Propaganda style. I liked that song when it came out, and then it very quickly got extremely old, because all of the students at the time were very, very much also into it. So no matter what the circumstance was, no matter what the situation was, I would like walk out into the hallway and I just hear like, Oppa Gangnam Style. Oh. Interesting. Well, thank you, Night Gardenia, for looking out for your fellow students. I don't have this student on record. It does seem like the tuition for whoever this is has been paid before, and I have it on record that you did it. But nevertheless, I do not have this student on record whatsoever. He loves Clairsperience field trips. Interesting. Perhaps this student is simply a little introverted. Not the type that would raise their hand to talk in class, I suppose. Yeah, this is working out. By the way, I just set up my 3D printer a few weeks ago. Excellent. What kind of printer have you got, Fallen? Is it a resin printer or is it a filament printer? What brand? What kind of setup? Do you have a direct extruder? Tell us all the juicy details. That is a wonderful summoning device. It is so nice to simply have the device that will do most of the work for you. That is certain. There we go. Ender 3v2. Ah, you have one step newer than I do. I've got the Ender 3 Generation 1. but I've upgraded it with a bed leveler and with a direct drive extruder. So it is about the same as an Ender 3 V2 in quality now. Material component filament. Yeah, I still need to go back and fix mine. Like, I have had a little bit of some calibration issues with it, and I just haven't taken the time to go back and fix it. I had half a mind to think that it was partially the temperature of the room of the tower in which I was printing, because the first, like, 8 or 10 layers of each print looked like trash, but then after that it seemed to equal out. So I think it was actually probably a temperature issue thing. But I've been able to use some clever little cantrips to equalize the temperature in the room that it is now stowed. So perhaps the next time around it will be a little bit better. Beyblades wrecked your summoning device. It's true, I did try to print some... What were they like? Divine Beast Beyblades? That might have been the case. The thing that I was trying to summon was, like, too high of a level for an artificer's machine to summon automatically for me. There we go. The good thing about these is that they go on easy and they dry really quickly, but the bad thing is that they are one step more viscous than a wash, which means that the sort of technique of that one does with washes, which is to say you just sort of slap some of that junk on there. I don't know where I'll set it up permanently right now since it's located in the living room. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I had mine set up in a pretty, like, forward-facing room in the tower for a while as well, and that got very old. I have a cellar way down at the bottom of the tower, but the cellar is definitely too cold and will be for quite a while unless I were to do something like build an enclosure for it, which is, at this point, a distinct possibility. Go. Because, I mean, the enclosure would make it such that it's much more easy to regulate all of the necessary things. If it isn't Miharkula! Welcome, Miharkula. These are my mage hands. They are controlled by magic in such a manner that I don't have to get paint on my actual real wizard hands. Go ahead and take a seat in the classroom wherever you like, Miharkula, and take out your notes. We are working on summoning some rending drakes. These boys are nasty work. They are very quick on the floor. They are very good at separating flesh from bone, especially when the object of their attack is still alive. One might summon these guys when one has an enemy that needs to be taken care of very quickly, but does not need to be done in a subtle way. Amazing. I do kind of want to run another one of those, like, Gloomhaven Monster versus tournaments that we had been doing before, because those were very fun. And they are a safe and better outlet for people who have a gambling addiction, because we don't have to worry about any actual monsters fighting each other. A sledgehammer for an ant kill. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, these dudes will definitely, like, pull the meat off of your body until there is nothing but bones left pretty quickly. They're like walking piranhas. With exceptionally sharp claws as well. That's another thing. Like, to say nothing of their claws, they got pretty nasty teeth. Okay. So here is our red contrast paint wash on all of the boys. One of life's simple joys is the boys. There we go. Time to class them into arcane tricksters. Today's lesson is on assassination. Well, this is the type of assassination that one might do to make an example, I suppose. This is a hit more than it is anything subtle like an assassination. This is the sort of make an example of him, Benny. And then, you know, Tommy gun or whatever. Okay. So this is now done now. Make those people learn that stealing a piece of bread from me is bad. Now, Miharkala, you must remember that I am a huge advocate of, relieving the rich and those corporations of the assets that they should not be able to hoard. Now then, the spines on these guys kind of looks in the picture like these little spines grow up into a white thing. So that might be a direction for that. Follow my example or I will make you one. That is raw. I like that. That's very good. Can a case be made that these should be more red? Well, once we add the highlights and stuff, it should probably be fine. I got engaged. Oh, hey, look at that. Amazing, Moss. Well done. Congratulations. That's very cool. I'm very glad for you. It is a cute story. Excellent. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about it, Moss, if you are comfortable doing so? Ah, yes, excellent. One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. We're going to use a little bit of the red speed paint, I think, to touch up and make it look a little bit better. We're going to use the soft tone wash. I think that's what we will end up doing. And then we'll probably want like an orange for some highlights, as well as an eyeball. Maybe some yellow too. Fire Giant orange speed paint might be good. I don't know if it's going to be actually very useful though. All right. So we're going to start with some red speed paint to do some touch-up. I've dabbled a bit in constructs lately. Have you ever heard of a junk golem? As a matter of fact, there have been people who have worked with junk. There have been people who worked with junk as material components for things that one might find in a place like the Labyrinth. So, that is neat. I mean, you work with what you get, right? Like, I've heard about urban magicians and that kind of business. All right. So the speed paint is exceptionally, like, drippy, I suppose. So we soak some of that up. We're gonna hook this guy back in the thing. Hang on. There we go. Just gonna kind of throw this. Give it a little bit more of like a actual red as opposed to like black and gray over which a red tint has been thrown. See how that turns out. There we go. Let's see. For a little background, my boyfriend is Italian. Well, my fiancé. Nice. And he went back to Italy the 7th or 8th of December, and I didn't really hear from him Christmas Eve and the day before Christmas Eve, and I just tracked it up to him being with family like one would do. Turns out he was at the airport flying from Italy back to the U.S. Oh, that's amazing. They were there to surprise you? Wonderful. Yes, Fallen, do tell me about the special abilities. Okay, the tone is going to go over last. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to get like a nice little detail brush. Whenever they hit with a melee attack, the target has to make a con save. If they fail, they get tetanus. That is chemical weaponry. That's biological weaponry, Fallen. And be careful if you are making these things within the Kingdom of Teme, because biological weaponry is illegal. Or, well, technically, biological weaponry is restricted. Insofar as that, like, one might look at it in a completely academic manner, it is not forbidden to do, but they're also immune to a lot of spells and spell-like abilities. A lot of golems and constructs tend to be, especially those from, like, older generations. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. Beedle-dee-dee-dee-dee-doo. Me and the boys are gonna mess you up. Here's what we're gonna do, though. We're gonna take some, like, very little... like, tiny highlights on this guy. I'm gonna do, like, a... little bits on, like, the edges of these spikes, perhaps. That doesn't look terrible. Just gonna kind of maybe... they will fade out the further down it goes on the tail, maybe? There we go. That doesn't look bad. Should probably do it on both sides, though. Christmas morning at about 6 to 7 a.m., my mom picked him up from the airport. My mom woke me up at 7:58 a.m. and gave me 10 minutes to get ready, and she told me to open the front door to see if it had snow, and you would never see it come who was on my front porch. Oh, that's amazing. That's so cute, Moss. Oh, that's very cool. I am happy to hear that you had such a good little, like, you know, romance story style setup there. That's really neat. Alright, we gotta get these things here. They're also the cheapest golem to build. Yeah, that makes sense. The ring is moss agate? That is so cool. Oh, man. I really enjoy when people have, like, important rings that are not, like, some, you know, boring old, like, normal white diamond type thing, and it's something that's actually really interesting and cool. Like, I'm not interested in the concept or the institution of marriage, for the most part. I think that it's kind of archaic for me, but I do appreciate it when others are able to do something good with their setup. Yeah. All right. I think we're going to use the orange for the dots like that one, and that's going to be our main sort of highlight on these guys, is we're going to do the orange in places where it makes some sense. You do want it to stay mostly opaque, though, if possible. Some people make questionable decisions about the material for their golems, like wax golem or a gold golem. I mean, listen, I know a place in Temevelt that has a platinum golem. Like, I don't know why you would do this. But I mean, I say this as a wizard, and our whole thing is like, you spent too much time thinking about whether you can to consider whether you should. Like, that's our whole hallmark. But no, there is a temple to the Raven Queen up on a mountain to the southeast of the capital called Kervolastus. And, well, Mount Velastus. And up at the top is Kervolastus, which is the name of the structure that was up there. And part of that structure is a temple to the Raven Queen. And it is guarded by a pretty big platinum golem. We don't want to get married, but because it's really important to his family, oh, this makes sense. This makes sense. I mean, I'm glad that you are in the kind of communication with your partner that would make it such that it is, like, you guys are both on the same level about it, because goodness knows I've seen some instances of, like, couples where that communication simply did not happen, or somewhere it did happen and it's the context of the communication ended up changing somehow, and that made it awkward for everyone when suddenly one conversation meant something else. I am fortunate enough to not have this happen in my life, but not impossible. I have seen it. Just getting real kind of orangey on this guy. Is this orange paint not mixed? Is that what the problem is? There are questionable ones like flesh, fossil, and blood. Flesh golems are technically still legal. You're still allowed to make them. But they fall within the purview of the necromancy school, as opposed to transmutation or conjuration, for what I would hope are obvious reasons. If Sin were here, she'd be able to tell you that flesh golems are themselves a type of artificially constructed undead. Because normally when you're doing something with undead, the idea is that you're using an existing corpse, or at least most of one, and bringing it back as a kind of remnant of what it once was itself. But flesh golems, not so much. Flesh golems are an amalgamation of a bunch of different corpses, and as such they require some extra effort to make do the thing you want them to do. Blood golems are a different thing altogether, also. My understanding of them, because I don't really deal with golems, right? But my understanding of the blood golem is that it is somewhat more similar to an elemental than it is a construct. But due to the nature of the way that it is animated, it still gets counted as a golem. Blood golems, at least out here, tend to be the type of non-sentient, like, working creature, I suppose. A lot of people put them in the same category as, like, summoned slimes and other, like, protozoic sort of stuff, on the grounds that being made of blood, they're, one, highly, like, filled with iron, and two, generally pretty, like, fluid in their body. Which, of course, means that, they're able to do things like fit into small places, at the risk of not being able to bear a humongous physical load, because it takes a tremendous amount of effort for a liquid object to be able to, like, hold enough of its own shape to affect bigger things around it. Like, if you are a water elemental, then your whole thing is, like, impact and crashing and such, and you can use water to, like, you know, brush something along. But when it comes to, like, I hand you this object and need it to be held, that's not really within the water elemental's, like, general wheelhouse, you know? Blood elementals kind of work the same way, it's just they are much more alchemical in nature. There you go. Rather stick to materials that weren't sentient before. God, don't we know it? I'm going to do the orange on this guy, and then maybe we'll take our first class break, so that we have the opportunity to do things like get tea, go to the bathroom, take medicine if that's a thing that you need to do. That sort of business, you know? But I want to get this done before we do so, such that I don't come back to some dry orange paint on my palette. That was extremely messy. And not very good looking. It's fine. It will be fine. It's fine. See, Iron Golem is a good setup. That one doesn't really mess around, you know? Like, you want a solid, like, good workhorse kind of golem, you go for iron, or you go for stone. You may even go for wood. Goodness knows wood golems are much less expensive than the metal ones. Just the sheer amount of metal that you have to buy. Like that. Yeah, alright, this looks okay. So we'll let these guys chill for a minute. I will get the orange out of my brush. And in the meantime, you guys should go to the bathroom, go down to the canteen, get yourself some tea, get food, take medicine if that's a thing that you need to do. Whatever it is, you will need to... Oh, hi, Rev. You're coming in just at the middle of, or at the beginning of the break. But you'll need to be back in 5 minutes. So, yeah. Here we go. Boop. Now then, let's get back to it, shall we? And voila, we are back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for coming back from break. I hope that everyone was able to get the things that they needed and do the stuff that they needed to do. So, what I'm looking at is that I have missed a few places on these boys that needed to be red. And we still do have the speed paint down, so I'm just gonna kind of real quick, like, slap some of that into these places. As a sort of touch-up. Moss, I went and looked at the ring that you posted. It is phenomenal. Like, it looks really cool. You must be exceptionally pleased with it. I am to understand that, you know, the ring that is used for whatever portion of whatever, like, dating and marriage and whatever ceremony is very big for a lot of people. So we're just going to do a quick inspection of all of these guys to make sure that everything is as red as it is supposed to be. Now, familiar, these are not edible. These are, in fact, dragons. You should not try to eat them. I do not have any snacks for you. I'm gonna get, like, these little tiny crevices and such. There we go. This guy, I think, is actually probably pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I hit him pretty darn hard, so we just gotta get this last little tiny bit here. On the underside of the tail, which I might just need to do without the stand. There we go. What about you? Yeah, everyone needs to get the bottom of the tail done, I guess. You need it as well? You're fine. Oh, it looks like you need it too. Blast. Heck and darn. Okay. And a little bit more here, and now you are set. How are you looking? I've missed the bottom of every single one of these dumb tails. It was, in fact, the engagement. But I referenced the fact that, like, the style, shape, color, etc. of the ring, and I am to understand that several of them are sometimes given, in different stages of the courting process. If Rev were paying attention, Rev might point out that I have no riz. I have no idea what the sort of, like, human courting rituals and things even are anymore. Long have I been alive. There we go. Something funny happened with one of your players. Do tell, Fallen. I am very interested. I'm always interested in hearing a good D&D story. Okay. That's the ring everyone gets to see. Then the ring that not a lot of people get to see is actually an infinity collar. Oh, that's neat. That sounds very cool, Moss. Very nice. Oh, familiar. Oh, familiar, you poor thing. I've been solo all my life, too. I'll have you know, I was not always solo, Fallen. I think the word that they use for it is single. Let's see here. We need something for the claws. I'm thinking we'll use bone white, maybe? So we'll just give this a little shake up. Wake up. Do a thing with all the little shake up. Put the thing on stuff with all the makeup. And we'll just put us down a little drop like that, because we only need it for, like, teeth and claws, I guess. We will need a pretty detailed brush, which we already have. Works out for me. All right. So this bone white we're using for teeth and claws. So wish me luck. Oh, that looks like garbage! Boy, did I scrunk that up. It's fine, maybe we can make do. That's a little better, I guess. We're doing okay. We're fine. We're fine. I said the one shot we're doing is for level 5, so I asked him to make level 5 characters. One of them made a level 1 character on accident, and when I mentioned it, he jokingly said, "Oh, that's alright, I'm playing hard mode." He's making it level 5 as we speak. Impressive. Well done. Hard mode it is. I once played in a campaign, and this is the mythical thing that everyone always hears about on, like, D&D Reddit and such. But I once played in a campaign where we started at level 0. It wasn't fun. I don't recommend it. Being a level 1 or level 0 commoner in D&D is kind of boring. Ugh. These teeth are kind of hard to get. There we go. Yeah, that looks fine. Kind of want to maybe get just a teensy bit more of that in this corner here. There we go. That matches our relationship better than a ring, and I actually don't get the collar till a couple days after Christmas. Excellent, well done. Good show. Being only 20% of the power of others mathematically is probably extremely hard. Yeah, I can only imagine. Okay, his toes are actually kind of buried in the rock, so we don't have to worry about that. Onward now to the next of them. You just pick up the tiniest little bit of paint. Here we go. Very likely we'll need to go back and do some touch-ups on these. It's fine. Everything will be fine. I don't like the fact, so like this hand kind of has the claws going under like this. I can't actually get like in under here so easily. So that's making it somewhat difficult. This side, on the other hand, we definitely can do. Oh, okay. I need a better camera. Yeah, this doesn't look that great, but I also had too much paint on the brush. We're gonna kind of try to fix that up a little bit. Now we go in for the teeths. Teeths! There we go. That doesn't look half bad. Let's hope that we can keep it at least that good. The one shot you mentioned is this Friday. Oh, that's very soon then, isn't it? Well, I hope that your players do exceptionally well. And that their shot is indeed won. You're out of paint now. There we go. Why is all of the music on my playlist this like weirdly orchestral depressing stuff? This seems like it might be better. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, we'll take it. It's looking good. 4 of them play D&D for the second time, and 1 hasn't played in 10 years? So they probably started back when 4th edition was out. 5th edition's been out for such a long time. Nothing wrong with that. I'm pretty sure 5th edition is the most supported version of the game. A case could be made that it's actually 3rd edition or 3.5 that is actually the most supported, but I refuse to entertain that. The only reason that version of the game is more supported is because about 25,000 different companies all decided to make stuff for it. When it comes to official support, I think 5th edition's probably doing pretty good. This guy's not looking great. Okay, it's coming back around. It's coming back around. Still not great. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. They played 3.5 and before that one? Oh boy. I've met so few people that have ever actually played, like, Dungeons and Dragons, what would be called 1st edition. Oh, the teeth came out pretty good on this one, at least. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, that's what's up. Okay. Excellent. They only played 1st edition and never changed till now. God. Yeah, talk about the old grognards. Are they an older person themselves? The only people that I know that, like, legitimately played 1st edition and continued to do it are people who started with 1st edition when it was the thing. Very strictly speaking, I do not know why someone would persist to play 1st edition when, like, 3rd edition, 4th edition, even 2nd edition is a clear upgrade. There we go. I mean, yes, you did have to deal with, like, you know, hit tables and Thaco and all of this other business in 2nd edition, but I don't know, it feels a little bit better. 1st edition was wonky. It makes sense that they would have inherited those books and that's where they came from. Yeah, that tracks. That makes full sense. Come on. There we go. Let's get these fingies over here. There we go. Come on. Yeah, that'll do. That will do fine. I'm gonna do a diamond painting. Ooh, moss. Diamond paintings are fun. Now that's something that I don't have the patience for. Like, people are all, you know, oh, how do you paint minis? They're so small. I cannot do diamond paintings. Those things drive me up the wall. So I'm always happy to see when someone else does it, because that means that I didn't have to. It's just like, ah, yes, please do this artwork, such that I am not the one that must do it. Okay. We need eyeballs. And the eyes on this guy look like they are a glowing sort of orangey thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use sun yellow for them. To be honest, I don't know how I do it sometimes. Excellent, very good. Okay. This we only need the tiniest. So we're going back in with another of this very detail brush. We're gonna do some eyes, and then we will mess with the bases. And then I think we're done with these guys. That will be nice. Where are these things' eyes? They are pretty... Oh, they're wonky. Oh, it's wonky. It's fine. This is the first one. It's fine. The eyes are a little bit wonky. The one I'm working on, I started New Year's Eve. It was the 30th or the 31st. I'm about done with it. Wow, wow, well done. That's pretty impressive. I know those things take some time. Oh, and what is this house rule of yours, Fallen? Do tell. One that you are not adding, but which nevertheless seems interesting. Oh, that one's also wonky. It's fine. It's fine. The eyes are not that important. The eyes are fine. Wonky eyes or not, these guys these guys are good at slashing and biting. They're not good at looking straight, it seems. A little bit of this. Match it on this side. Okay, that one's not nearly so bad. It's greatly not perfect, but shrug. Okay. Start with the eye that we can sort of see. Match it on the other side. Now that's the best eyes that I've done on these guys so far. It doesn't look nearly so wonky. Okay, okay. Pick up just a teensy bit more. We're going to one eye and the second eye. Okay, okay. It took me 3 failed attempts before the 4th and 5th look okay. Oh god. Let's see if the 6th will turn out to be passable. Wish me luck. It's passable! I've been known to sit on the floor for hours because my dining room table chairs are so uncomfortable. Gosh, I know how that goes. It's comfier to sit on the floor for hours than it is to sit on one of those chairs for hours, don't we know it? So I do it on the living room floor so I can watch TV or listen to music or whatever. Usually turn on music on the TV, I've done that plenty of times. And watch Twitch on my phone and I'll sit there for hours. Well, thank you for spending your diamond painting time with us, Moss. Very much appreciate it. Let's see, I don't need to explain material components to you, but the house rule is that if you don't have the material component, you can be the material component, literally sacrificing your body to cast spells. Interesting. I mean, there are systems of magic that do exactly that, like hemocraft and blood magic and that kind of business do require your blood to work. But I've never seen one that will allow you to, like, oh, you know, I need sulfur and bat guano. I don't have either. Let me just chop off a little portion of my finger. I've never seen that before. The ground has got to be brown and gray, because it's rocks and dirt and such. So what have we got that will work for that? We've got yellow speed paint. Yeah, maybe not. Have we got a green speed paint? Orange, purple, blue, green. Orc skin green. What if we made the ground like grass? That might work. Why don't we take a look and see what it looks like? We'll do it on one of them and see what the vibe is sort of like. We use this brush that is short bristle and somewhat already screwed up. Grab some of this. We're just going to kind of slop it on top. I don't hate it. If a character asks me if they could, or if a player asks me if they could play a character that works like that, we'll work a quick system out, but I won't just introduce it. That's the smart way to do it, you know? If somebody asks specifically, like, hey, can I do this weird unorthodox thing? I want to play a character based around this thing or whatever, then yeah, build something for that character. Okay, so what's going to happen is these are just going to be mossy rocks. Rocks covered in moss. And maybe grass and such. Yeah, I don't hate this. I think it looks good. Maybe we will do this for all of them. Yeah. And then we need maybe a little bit more so we can kind of come in here for it. And we'll need to do some of that under the tail stuff there, which means we're going to need a little bit more of the speed paint. I'm glad I picked this stuff up. I was reading about the different sorts of, like, cheaters paint. Contrast paint and speed paint and all that business. And I don't remember... Like, I know one of them is an alcohol-based paint, and that's why it dries so quickly. And I know that one of them is, like, super diluted, but high saturation. That kind of thing. Yeah, I don't hate this. This doesn't suck. All right, I'm down. I'm in. Yeah, that actually looks pretty decent. So we're going to do mossy green rock for all of them. Speed paint, you are the savior of many an hour. Oh, shoot. It's fine. That white that was on the palette there is very, very much already dry. I could not have possibly picked any up. Get down in here. There we go. Then again, I use multi-placers so I can place multiple gems at once. That is clever. I have seen people with that sort of, like, the little tool that does that. It's like the little wax pencil with multiple tips or whatever. And I feel like that's not cheating. That's, like, using a tool that's readily available. Okay. Let's make sure that the rest of the base is good. Around the outside edges. Nice and easy. Oh, I'm off camera. Whoops. There you go. I saw a type of magic in some fantasy thing. Sounds really interesting. It's basically they lie to the reality itself, and being so convincing that reality becomes their lie, a true charisma caster. That is very interesting. I mean, I have heard in media and stuff of quite a few very interesting magic systems. Simply the idea of speaking something into existence is a very popular method of magic. In fact, the study of true speech is almost exactly literally that. True speech being, theoretically being, it's theorized to be the language that was used to speak the universe into existence and such. I don't know what I think about that theory very honestly, but we do have remnants of true speech in some of the higher level spells, like power words, this and that. It's interesting, right? Because, like, that whole language of creation thing, like, we have had access to spells like Power Word Stun, Power Word Kill for a really long time. And a couple, I don't know, maybe 150 years ago or something like that, someone was like, hang on, what if that was a whole thing? What if it's not just, like, a series of very powerful magic words. And someone else recently rightly pointed out that healing word is actually power word heal, but it's probably just been like so corrupted from its original context that that's why it's very weak and not nearly as strong as the other power word spells. Could be a bard, TBH. That's true. That's true. I mean, hashtag not all bards and all of that, but even so. I have never met a bard that could not talk their way into and out of basically any noble's wallet. Okay. Throw a little bit more of this green down here. There we go. That's why I said they tend to be, yeah. I still am thinking about using the soft tone wash on these guys. I might do it on one of them and see what it looks like. I am somewhat afraid now to do it, because I don't want to, like, wreck what we actually already have, in case it sucks. But on the other hand, adventure. One will never know unless one tries. Stay. Okay. There we go. Nice and easy like. 2 more for these grassy, mossy bases. And then maybe, if I'm feeling very adventurous, perhaps, I will throw the soft tone wash on one of these guys and see what it looks like. When it comes to having, like, several of the same mini and then trying something on just one of them, I am a little bit more reticent. But then again, like, look at our wind elementals, wind demons from last time. All of them have a different tint to them because the alcohol inks were all different. So I don't know, maybe I should just throw it. There we go. In Pathfinder, we actually have a whole alternative magic system called the Words of Power, which is basically what you described. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a popular magic system. Pathfinder and, you know, to an extent D&D, because Pathfinder is basically, you know, our home table's version of D&D that we decided to sell, took a lot of that power word sort of business from the literary series The Belgariad. Their magic is called The Word and the Way. And it's that their whole thing is they speak stuff into existence. And like one of the biggest, I guess most powerful objects in the universe is the Orb of Aldir, which has the power to reverse that process and speak things out of existence. Simply by looking at something and commanding it to be not, it stops existing. I am very glad that this type of artifact does not exist in the universe where I live. Because can you imagine the type of villainy that would want to get their hands on that. If you choose the Words of Power, you're unable to ever cast a normal spell. Yeah, no, that tracks. I mean, it would make sense, like, you shouldn't be double dipping your magic systems, as it were. Get rid of the green. Goodbye, green. There we go. We're gonna need a new paper towel. Like so. I was doing my best to get into a VTuber, what's the thing? Agency for a little while. If it isn't Cross. Well, well, well. Hello, new friend with many letters in their name. Excellent. But hello to the both of you. Go ahead and take a seat in the classroom wherever you like and take out your notes. To be mentally handing that would take a very illegal attribute score. God, can you only imagine, right? But welcome, Cross. Thank you for coming to class. I'm very happy to see you. We are in the process of finishing up our rending drakes. And I am gathering the courage to try to throw a soft tone wash over one of them and see what it looks like. Ah! This one, probably. That one's base is already dry. Okay. Now, the soft tone is a completely liquid. You dropped your gems! Oh no! God, the sorting is probably going to be somewhat okay. I say that as me, who has the tism. But like, oh geez. All right, we need a brush that will pick the wash up. Okay, wish us luck. We do it like here. It kind of darkens the claws down to a more organic tone a little bit. It was only one color. Lucky moss. Power word kill is not a word of power. An interesting take. Okay. I think we're gonna leave it with just this one, perhaps. Yeah, that's probably the way we ought to do that. By technicality, that's true. Yeah, I don't know, like the Belgariad's magic, the word in the way, that kind of thing. The aspects of true speech, that kind of stuff. Any of the sort of creation magic, like even we here at Teme Velt have spells that are literally called like creation, which I still maintain ought to be a transmutation spell, because there really isn't a way to create matter from nothing. But, who am I to talk? I'm the conjuration guy. Transmutation doesn't like it when we say that something should be theirs. Who knows? But we're looking pretty okay. These guys came out. Mm-hmm. Now, these are little drakes. They don't have a breath weapon or anything like that. Okay, so now what we do for the very last bit is we're going to put a number on each one of these. Because the game will call for initiative based on what number is on the base. So we've got a little sort of flat area here, and we're going to put a number on each one. We will probably do it in white. Happen to still have a little bit of the white left over. So we're going to do it real careful like. One. Now we'll do the... Oh, y'all stuck to the paper. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine because it's fine. Okay. A little bit more. Now let's do a 2 on this one. I'm just going to try to... Two. Now we'll do a 3. And then a 4. There we go. Now we go for a 5. And finally, a 6. Random question, what's your favorite spell? My favorite spell is the one that I've put into the spell books, called Go Elsewhere Chant. It's a spell that when you cast it on somebody, it teleports them 30 feet in a random direction. 6. There we go. I guess that's like my favorite sort of thematic spell. If we're talking about just like a spell that I use all the time because it's, you know, useful and very good and all of that, then that probably is a different question, and it's probably Mage Hand. I mean, you know. But like, there's all those questionnaires that go around in the mundane world that's like, if you could have one spell and you could use it as many times as you like, you know, what would you want it to be? And everyone's like, oh, invisibility or wish. And I'm over here like, no, it's Mage Hand. It's definitely Mage Hand. That's the correct answer. You can do so much wild stuff with Mage Hand. Okay, let me pull up the surface on which we can take a look at these good guys. The white is not good in the light there. This is Prestidigitation Erasure. Listen, Presto's very good. Presto is important as a spell. Mage Hands, though. Mage Hand, especially in 5th edition, allows you to carry 10 pounds. It allows you to open doors, like open and close chests. It allows you to grab things from quite far away. And there are higher levels of it, like, for instance, Big B's Hand. Another huge sort of, like, upgrade to the spell. And in any case, Cross, you're a cleric. You don't even have Presto on your spell list. You do make a good point, though. You can clean stuff. What's better is you can make stuff dirty. Calling it Presto is funny, I'll remember that one. Well, because Prestidigitation is 6 syllables. Presto. Done. Alright, let's take stock of our guys, huh? The orange tips are pretty good. The highlight and shadow shown through the red contrast paint. The eyes are fine. The claws are better on some of them than on others, that's for certain. But definitely like the mossy grass sort of rock thing worked out well. Nice. It's also a word stage magicians tend to use sometimes. Where do you think they got that word? The stuff that stage magicians do is called, in the mundane world, prestidigitation. And therefore, their magic word is prestidigitate, or presto. Oof. All right. We're only about 2 hours in, but I feel like this is kind of everything that I've got the chutzpah, the moxie for today. It's been a long day, so we will come back tomorrow, and when we are here tomorrow, well, you guys will be here. I'm sending you over to Professor Yimble's tower so that you can do another one of his experiments with Claire Experience and see how his research has been going down. I assume that this means that you're going to go and meet with Bardgamot, as he has now been colloquially called. So yeah, hope that we'll have a good time on it. They usually don't do magic, it's more sleight of hand. Don't let Zatanna or Zatara hear that, because boy, will they be upset. Let's see here. Who do we have available that we can toss you guys over to? We're going to take a look at my little list here. Let's just come back to here real quick for a moment. And we are gonna... Let's see. Oh, Villain of Legend's playing Monster Hunter. Let's go say hi to Villain of Legend. That looks like it's the correct answer, /raid. Villain of Legend _ There we go. Villain of Legend is playing Monster Hunter. So, if you're into that, I mean, you guys were watching me summon monsters. I suppose now hunting them is the next logical step. Let's go ahead and do raid message. We'll do it like this, and it will be the professors. Students have come to help hunt monsters. And then the other raid thing, which looks like this. There is our raid message, my dear students. We will see you all again tomorrow. Hopefully you will enjoy yourselves. I will enjoy having the day off. And we will, yeah, we'll do the thing. Don't forget to do your homework, everybody. Here we go.
Yes, welcome Raiders. Thank you, Cosmo.